So in this video, I'm going to show you how to put together this Beachy Snowman card. And here's a different, you can show it on the screen, but here's another one, like that. So a little non-traditional Christmas card for those that have just sun, but I made it a traditional A2 size, which normally I do a lot of dimensional, but this is more of a layered feel. And there is a bit of thickness to it, so just to let you know, I didn't want to put just part of the panels get thick right there, but that's because of this water. So, but I think it's cute, different, something for those in warm regions, particularly like Australia, Florida, California, Christmases, that kind of thing. So there are a couple things I want you to know about this file before we get started. So there are, in the file, there's 3 different sentiments for drawing and the same sentiments for on printable tags. So you get to choose, even though it's an all-in-one, you need to ungroup it and decide what you're going to use. So the 3 sentiments are Sandy and Bright, Seas and Greetings, and Merry Christmas, a traditional Merry Christmas. So again, these will be like the print and cut version, which are, you'll see them separate in the file on little white tags. And then the other one is for drawing. So if you are going to be drawing, I'll give you shortly, let me show you this demo on Cricut. And I'll explain really quick, and it can be used, the same similar steps can be used on a different software. So I'm showing you in Cricut when you would pull the complete file in. And I'm just ungrouping everything so we can move some components around. So we're going to go ahead and move that big blue panel and then upload this little drawing guide. So the drawing guide will help you place the drawing piece in the right place on that panel. So you want to go ahead and highlight both and then align on the top and right, and it'll put it in the upper right hand corner. Then you go ahead and select the sentiment you want. We're going to go ahead and bring it to front first so you can see at the top, and then you want to put it in the lower left hand corner, making sure it doesn't overlap over the bottom. And then I just put the snowman there so you can see that it fits there without hitting the snowman top. And then you want to go ahead and select the sentiment and choose draw. If you're using a Cricut, highlight both of them and attach. So that way when we come here to cut it, it will show the pen and cut, and then you can go ahead and finish that. So the first thing I want to show you is some of the inking that I've done. I already pre-inked a lot of things, like I put a little edge of blue here, a little blue around the edges here, just slight, just to give it a little bit more dimensional feel. And the same thing, some of these pieces you'll see as I put it together already have some ink on it. But I wanted to show you by inking a couple pieces. So I'm going to put a little ink on this sky piece and also on these 2 sand pieces. So I didn't do those on purpose. So let me put those aside. So let's start with this, with Distress Oxide, but you can try with other inks. There's lots of good inks out there. I just happen to have a stock of this. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And I have just this extra piece of cardstock laying around after I did a printing cut. So I like to put a little edge on it and a little inking on it, and it gives it kind of a depth. So it really it's a matter of how you feel it's going to look for you. So I'll give you an example in a minute after I finish this. So I love these little brushes. So I have little finger versions of this, but you just kind of blend in. You can do as much, kind of want to keep consistent look and feel for the entire project, but it's going to give it an edge. So when I put it over, let me get this snowman. When I put it over this, it's going to feel like you're going to see that it's a separate object. So that's one of the purposes of it. So let's go ahead and do this. So this top part won't be seen because that's where the water, but the straight edges, this won't be seen, that won't be seen. So I'm just going to go a little bit in because I want it to go past the frame. So I want it, so I'm trying to get it, we have a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch frame, and I want to get it a little bit further in so you can see it. And you're not going to see the middle of it. Like I said, the snowman's going to be right here, so you don't have to worry about it. But just kind of give it a different feel. So you can see that's what you're going to see on the sides, like that. So it's up to you whether you like the look or not. If you like it, prefer it cleaner, then you do it cleaner. Whoops. The other thing I practiced with on my other card was the inking. Whoops, here we go. Just showed you those, and let's get rid of those. This was done with a little bit of inking, so they can see the different colors in there. And a lot of this was, it just gives it a different look. And I'm not going to do the yellow around the sun, but you certainly can. I just took the circle part, not the outside sun part, and just did a little inking. It gets a little bit tricky when it comes to putting the blue. I had blue ink and yellow, so I didn't want to make green up there, so I had to be careful with that. So those that don't, you can always skip through this also, just to go to the assembly. But I have this, so I'm going to use Salty Ocean. And I find just getting a little bit excess off. Remember, because I have a frame on this, I'm not going to see that top edge, so I'm just trying to get in a little bit. And just make it look kind of like a little bit more color variation than just plain old paper. And then I'm trying to get close to this because that'll be the edge of the top of the water. I don't want it, I like to dab it off a little bit because I don't want too much to show up. So you don't have to be like extra careful or anything. It's up to you. So I just wanted a little variation, not just plain blue. Again, this could be a preference for some people. Remember this, the edges again won't be shown because I have a frame on the outside. So that's how I did some of the inking. So now we're going to do some of the piecing. I mean, a lot of this is piecing. So I put all the pieces out so you can see it. Let's go ahead and I'll just kind of go around this way. So that I put all the pieces to the face right here, and then the body, and then some of the other panels. So I'm using, for this one, Barely Art Glue. And I have a little pin that I put in the top right now. So let's go ahead and we'll just, so you saw on the other card I just used this middle part. So you can do that, but I have a sun here. So I'm going to go ahead and piece that together. And you don't need to watch this if you don't want to. I'm going to talk through it anyways. Just put a little bit too much glue there. And then this one, it helps to have a fine tip applicator. If you need to, you could always brush glue on or get a little glue pen. But I like the little applicator on this. So it's easier to make sure, I'm making sure that I have the correct side with the textured paper. Carefully line that up. So you want to be careful with this, else you'll see the glue on the black. So there's sunglasses. Then we can go ahead and add the, you could use a solid color, but I chose to do a printed pattern. So that's just going to go right there. So if you look carefully on the hat, there's two little areas right here, little cut lines to help you place it. So make sure those line up there. So I'm just going to go ahead and line that up. Just go right there. So those little cut lines will help you place this hat band. Then the way this is going to go is like this. Make sure I have that correct. That, and then the hat on top. So you can see I inked this around the edges a little bit to give it a little bit an edge, so when it's overlapped it looked pretty good. So you always want to put glue on the part with the cutout that goes on the top. So again, you don't want to put it on the black, you just want to put it on this top piece so we can go around that mouth opening. And I find it's just easier for me to pick up than line it up, because I don't want to get glue in the area of the where the mouth cutout is, the smile cutout. Had a little black fiber there. So a lot of times I just like to just go around the edges to get it flush. Then this one, you want to just line up the same thing. Be careful with the amount of glue you use around the opening. Just going to line that opening up. So I just kind of line it up. Not quite. I'll jiggle it into place. As long as you don't put a lot of glue around it, you should be able to get it into place. When you see the little thing that juts out here, that'll be for the sunglasses. So the sunglasses will go right here, and the hat will go like that. So let's go ahead and put the sunglasses because it's easy to do. Now a lot of people might put, a lot of designers might make this whole shape the hat so you don't have it bulky, but I like to save paper, so it's kind of a give and take of the process. It's either you have a really thick card or you save a little cardstock. So then we'll put this on top. So I bent this a little bit when I took it off the mat. So go light, give yourself a little wiggle room. I'm just going to start at this side, or you could start in the middle at the top, because that's easier to line it up at the top. And line it up right here. You can see how that lines up. Trying to flatten out that little defect when I pulled it off the mat wrong. It flattened. Then the last thing is the nose. So you go left or right with it. I went right before, so let's go left. You just need a little dot of glue. And I'm just going to get this pair of tweezers. I can place it with my fingertips. It's just going to be easier with the tweezers. That's up to you. I didn't put any kind of like how you want it. So I put it to the left. Okay, now that we have the head done, let's go ahead and do the body, and then we can plop the head on. Let's do the easiest thing, the bottom part. So you can just line it up at the bottom and the sides there. So it looks like it's with sand around the little snowman. Okay, for this, let's go ahead and do these little things. So these two, I inked them already, but one's smaller than the other, so the smaller one goes to the right, larger one on the left, and these are the two pieces. So you want to fit it. I'm just going to kind of put some glue here. If you don't feel confident that you can put all that, you can put it on the back of that one. And then what you want to do is get it on there and kind of rotate it until the edge lines up there. So that'll go right there in a moment. Let's get it down. I don't think I put enough glue on it. I'll always look on the back because I can see whether it lined it up properly. I keep on moving it every time I touch it until the glue dries. Okay, there we go. So this one, so we'll put glue on the back of this one this time. And rotate it, like I said, until it lines up nice on the side. So you have the little, we should call it Beach Man, the little Beach Man. So this is the left. You want to line it up right here, and right around there. Going to make sure it's lined up well. So that's the towel that's around the Beach Man's body. I should call it Beach Man, but I call it Beachy Snowman. And then we can go ahead and place this over that. So if you want to, we can do a little, you can do a little foam tape to pop it up. On the last one, I popped up the sunglasses, but on this one, maybe I'll just pop up the head. What I like with Scotch foam tape is that I can tear it off. I can cut it off if I want to, but it tears, which is nice. Sometimes I don't want to get a pair of scissors out. Pop it up like that. And the backing comes off really well. It's a little bit more expensive than some of the craft foam tape out there, but I like it. I've liked it over time. So just go ahead, and if you're going to do the pop-up tape, you need to carefully look and see how you line it up. Otherwise, if you just do glue, you just want to line it up like we do everything else. That's cute. See, so here's the difference. That's the head is flat and the sunglasses are up. So I kind of like this way better. Then I did ink these. So these are just little cut lines right here. So when you put the ink on it, they show up. You could always put a pen on it too to show up, but they're just little cut lines, so it looks like the ridges of a seashell. Just gonna put them haphazardly down the way I want to. You can put them straight up, sideways, whatever floats your boat. Just make sure you put the correct side up if you have textured or inked. I'll just put them kind of haphazard, opposite of each other. Kind of fun, huh? I had fun creating this one. So let's go. The last thing we need to layer is this. So there's the flat edge at the bottom. Make sure that you have the little slightly curved edge at the top. And we're going to put the white on first. If you don't put glue too close to the edge, you have the ability to kind of wiggle it in place. Just making sure it lines up. And if you wanted to, you could always just put 2 layers if you don't want it too thick. That third layer, you could always ink it and give it like a graduated look with ink. with the darker look, or just this would be fine. So there's options, and you could actually use the snowman for a completely different card. Or a box. Would be fun as a box too. An embellishment on any box, like a gable box, or really any box. Explosion box. You can't get too much smaller, but if you were to make that snowman smaller, you could put different eyes, you could put a different nose, you could use embellishments like enamel dots, that kind of thing. Trying to line it up on the left and right. And you can see I didn't line it up well on the top at all, so we're just pushing that down a little bit. There we go. What will get you, if it overlaps a little bit on the left and right, you can trim it. I had to do that on the last card I did. That happens. So now the way we're going to put it is take this panel. This goes. I would put this one next, and we want to put it towards the corner. And then this. And if you use the instructions on how to place that, if you want to do drawing, I do like the drawing pen version nicely. You know, it works out nice. You want to put the sun first. But when you put that, you can see the reason why we have these little rounded. So you can see how that's going to look. So let's go ahead and put it all together. So this is the last easy part. Let's go ahead and add the bottom here. And if you do like this project or any of my videos, I ask if you can give me a little thumbs up, a like on the video, and or subscribe to my channel. And if you hit that little notification bell to the right, you'll be notified when we have new content. If you wanted to, you could add just a little glue to the little what are those called? Rays? Again, if you prefer, you could just use you don't have to use the whole sun. You can just use the circle part. So there's one to give options, and I always like to give options, but you can change it up. This would make a good edge card too. A lot of people make edge cards with Cricut, and if you haven't seen that, you can look it up. I have kind of my own. I have a couple edge cards I did, but a lot of people just use regular images and whatever they have on hand to make edge cards. Then I'm kind of going to go towards the middle. You kind of want to be mindful of where your words are if you drew them on. I'm just going to line it up on the bottom first, and then we'll get it down. I'm going to flip it over to give it a little, because of that foam tape, I don't want to be pushing on the head too much. It's a pretty simple card, just a lot of piecing. But you can make a lot of these. And here's the card, so I just already folded it. This fits right on there. So I could have made it inset a little bit, but I didn't. So if you wanted to do it without the frame, you could. It looks just fine without the frame. Carefully lined it up. Do my best to get it in place. And then when you're putting this on, make sure that the rounded corner's on the top. So you can see the rounded corners and the short corners on there. You don't want it the other way. You want it this way, okay? So make sure the rounded's up there. And then this is the little, I always say these kind of frames are a little bit of a challenge. I'm just going to put glue down the middle. For this, I usually am more successful when I start on one short side first and then line up on the left and right. And kind of go up one of the edges. I'm going to go and double check how lined up it is. Pretty lined up. And because it's a little bit of thickness right here, kind of have to push it down, going down. I'm kind of pushing it out so we don't see the blue edge. Pushing it up to line up that top part. So we have a couple things to go over, the sun and these bottom things. So you don't want these coming up, so I'd say just focus on that. That's why I said if you want to remove that extra panel, you can feel free to do that. Like I said, most layered cards, they just put layer upon layer upon layer, but I like to save cardstock, so as much people want to do it, that's just the thickness of it. It's not bad. So that's the finished card. Isn't that fun? I thought so. So here's the two different cards. You can see the different colors, and I used vanilla on that instead of white for the card, and I kind of mixed it up with a white hat. So you can change the color scheme, break up the file a little bit, make it look a little bit different. And I actually like the color I used here, which is Seafoam. And this, I believe I used Pacific and Ocean. And this is Pacific and Seafoam and Ocean, with the little inking. So I hope you enjoyed this project, and I thank you so much for watching.